How's it going, everybody? This is the Erroneous One with a pretty quick talk about Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key. The focus on this one is once again going to be the main focus it has been for the past week, which is the Jack and Sally medal. So, as I'm sure all know by this time, if you watch my previous videos, if you've been playing the game, if you read the updates, Jack and Sally did get reverted back to what was originally advertised. Um, when we were doing the high school challenge, which again, it's great. It's amazing that they did that. Cena did that, and so that is all to the good for all of us, I think. Now, one thing to note for this one, and this has been a concern, and I've heard it from a few people in the past day, and so I kind of wanted to address it real quick, and that's mainly going to be the reason Cena wanted to change it initially was because it was deemed too powerful by them for the NA version of the game. I kind of see what they're coming from. I don't agree with that statement, but I can kind of see where they're coming from in regards to that one. And it's kind of interesting to note, too, that the format of the November Coliseum has changed a bit. It's going to be harder to get higher up, I think above 2,500 and up. It's going to be more of a fight, most assuredly now, just by the way they changed it. And I'll go over that momentarily as well. So we're already starting to see some changes from that, which is interesting. Again, I don't particularly agree with that statement that it's too overpowered for this version of the game. But somebody was commenting on my video earlier, and pardon me if I mispronounce your name, if you're still watching this video, Caxton Petrie. He and I had an interesting conversation today. Throughout while I was at work and everything, and I got engaged in it. I want to read you part of what he said here. He thinks that I was wrong about the medal being too OP for the current state of the game. Jack and Sally makes medals like Illustrated Black Coat Mickey and HD Sora basically irrelevant. He understands that myself as a bigger player, as I spend more money on the game, that I may not think so, but from a power creep / curve perspective, it's just messed everything up. He says that Jack and Sally literally invalidated premiums for the next several Epic Metal Carnivals. So he also goes on a bit more. He talks about how the JP side is different, which and such, and how they're utilized over there is different. Mainly that tier 4 is pretty much a guaranteed over there now. It's not guaranteed. I'm sorry. It's the standard now. For guilting over there is the tier 4s. But he also brought up the fact too, saying that if we get Mickey and Brooms as well, which should, I guess, go in line with the Sora, Kairi, and Riku medal, that it would basically be a slap in the face to the top 1% of everybody who pays thousands or hundreds of dollars to guild their premiums without Mickey and Brooms. Basically, we will never be as well off as JP, because if Mickey and Brooms are and easy guilting ever comes around, Cena will invalidate everything the whales who fund their game bought. Okay, so to address those 2 points, I didn't quite address in his comments earlier. I didn't quite address the issue about Mickey and Brooms. But I did go on to say this concerning Jack and Sally invalidating the other medals like Illustrated Black Coat Mickey and HD Sora. I don't agree with that one. And I don't agree with that one for the main reason of the multipliers that the Keyblades give when they're put on the appropriate slots. Jack and Sally is a great medal. It is awesome. Jack and Sally will never be as useful on, and the example I used was the Olympia Keyblade. Illustrated Black Coat Mickey and HD Sora, both speed and power medals respectively, are going to function so much better on the Olympia Keyblade than Jack and Sally ever will, not having those multiplier boosts. We are going through the high level. I mean, we're already starting to see it. We just had those level 500 ghosty guys previously. We're starting to get those really high level opponents, and the Proud Quest are coming in January. You're going to want medals on your Keyblades that get the benefit of the multiplier. And if you don't have the multiplier benefit, despite it being Jack and Sally or HD Sora or Illustrated Black Coat Mickey, it won't matter. More than likely or not, you are not going to beat the requirements of that quest. And it'd be a far to say that you would even beat the quest in the first place. Because when you're dealing 1 damage per hit to like a big level 500 opponent, despite the fact that it may give you that PCM boost and the PCM defense down on the opponent, that is not enough to negate the lack of damage that and lack of defense you're going to lose from putting Jack'n'Sally on like a power slot or onto a speed slot. I don't think, personally, this is for me again, I don't think you can truly underestimate the advantage of having the multipliers when you put the right metals onto the appropriate slots. That cannot be undervalued at all whatsoever. That's gonna be a really, really important thing. So that's my main reasoning for that. And I'm not saying this video to trash on Caxton at all. Caxton was very polite, and he had some well thought out arguments in our conversation about that. It's a valid concern. I totally see where he is coming from in saying that, and I can, I get that. It's kind of going like, well, why do I want to pull for Illustrator Black Hood Mickey now when Jack'n'Sally does that plus one more turn, or whatever the case may be in the situation. And again, that's the reasoning. Jack'n'Sally will not always benefit from those multipliers, and it needs to benefit from the multipliers. Going forward in the Proud Quest and further on when they do these special events and everything, when we have those higher level opponents and such, I mean, even the high score challenge recently was a really good indicator of that one. I mean, we had a room that was full of level 230s, or 260s. I forget what it was now. That's pretty crazy. That's the first time we ever had anything that high in that many groupings. The one before that had a single target level 230 opponent, depending on what pathway you went down, and that was going to be it. I mean, so you need to have the right metals on the right slots in order for them to function really well. That's my opinion on that one, and that's why I said that, and that's why I disagree with them. In terms of the Mickey and Brooms, I kind of see his point there. Again, I don't agree with it again, but I understand that. I mean, the Mickey and Brooms were not unknown to players. Pretty much everybody, when the game first came out way back in March of this year, the Japanese version had been out for almost, what? God, I want to say like 6 or so months before we got it in the NA or the global version of it was released. We knew what was coming. I knew a whole bunch of medals that were already going to come out in the future for the game. That I was really looking forward to seeing and using myself. Mickey and Brooms was among those. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool thing to utilize in the game. It wasn't unknown to us, and we all knew they were coming. People who spend that kind of money on this game know about Mickey and Brooms, and they know that there is a really good chance of those Mickey and Brooms being released in A-side at some point in time in the future. I mean, I can only hope that maybe as like some kind of Christmas gift, will go, hey, look, it's Christmas time. Here's the Mickey and Brooms. Ta-da! That'd be awesome. But they know about that. They know what's coming out. They know about Mickey and Brooms. They still chose to spend money on it anyway to get their premiums gilded. And it's not a huge niche. He's right. He said about 1% of the game's players have gilded premiums at that. And I agree with that. That seems to be a fair assessment, in my opinion, of how many people have gilded premiums. But they knew what they were doing. They spent money knowing that Mickey and Brooms may come further down the line. They chose to spend money, and because they didn't want to wait for them to be released. And at this point, I kind of don't blame them. I mean, the game's been out for about six, almost 7 months now, and we still haven't got Mickey and Brooms in A-side. So they chose to spend the money. They chose to get those premiums gilded and ready to go and have them accessible immediately to carry on further in the game with greater ease and be able to pretty much do anything. That was a choice they made. So I don't particularly agree that they're being where he said essentially Cena would basically be shitting on the top 1%. I don't agree with that one. They walked in there with eyes wide open, knowing exactly what they did. Again, Caxton, I thank you for those comments. That was very insightful. I really appreciated those. It was a good discussion, in my opinion. I enjoyed that conversation with you. Again, I didn't agree with you. That it means in no way that I think your opinion is wrong on the whole. I don't personally agree with it. I'm sure there are going to be many people who agree with you as well. But yeah, I mean, that's my thought. And I kind of want to do this video, and I guess it's kind of just so I could kind of talk to you face to face. It kind of, and that, you know, it seems more more impactful and more, you know, like I'm paying attention. You know, that was, because that was, again, that was a really good point you brought up. That was one of the best conversations I've had in some time when you brought those up. Just because I disagree with both those points doesn't mean that you're wrong in thinking that initially. And people probably agree with you. Regardless of the fact, guys, Jack and Sally is here. Illustrated Black Coat Mickey, I think, is going to be coming in pretty soon. We're going to get like a illustrated Shion further down the road. Eventually, we'll start getting some of the key art ones too, as well. But some good things are still coming down the road for us, or everybody else. So, as a player, if you were not able to get the Jack and Sally medal in the recent high score challenge, you're also going to have the opportunity to get medals like HD Sora and Illustrated Black Coat Mickey, which are going to have a similar ability, just different versions. One speed, which is HD Sora. One is power, which is Illustrated Black Coat Mickey. So you're gonna get your opportunity. Now, how those medals will be affected now coming into the NA side, I don't know. I think that's gonna be an interesting point of fact. How are future medals going to be introduced to us now? Because now it's a precedent has now been set, I think, in terms of Jack and Sally. This medal is exactly as is promoted in the JP side. And now we have that here on the NA side. I'm wondering how far they're going to take that going forward with medals similar-ish to this. Some medals being slightly nerfed for the game. Okay, I can kind of get that, I suppose, up to a point. But now that we have these, is there really going to be a real need to actually downgrade them now? If we don't get them downgraded, I can kind of see other people's points where, well, there might as well not even be a distinction between global and JP, because at that point in time, our version of the game is just going to be wholly an import of the JP side. That's a valid point too. Things are still a little different in terms of the mechanics of the game, but that's a valid point that I get in that one too. I don't know. I think that's going to be an interesting scene forward. I'm going to be interested to see if, like, Illustrated Black Coat Mickey or HD Sora or Illustrated Shion or Illustrated Xemnas, any of them, I'm curious to see if they're going to be adjusted still after this has happened, and if they are adjusted, how much are they going to be adjusted? Or is Cena going to adjust the NA version of the game like they did with the Coliseum? Because let's talk about that real quick. And honestly, I really think that maybe part of the problem, or reason we had... what was it? I think like a 72-hour delay before we got a response from Cena about the Jack and Sally medal is because of what happened. They had to go, okay, if we're going to give Global this unnerfed version of the medal, we're going to have to adjust our events accordingly. Okay, if they adjust the events accordingly, then there's no reason why we shouldn't get the medals that the JP side is getting in their full context with no nerfs or anything. But... this is kind of interesting to hear. So, this is the Timothy Mouse avatar board for male and female. We're now going to get the Defense Boost 3 skill, which is pretty cool. That's going to be a ball buster right there. It negates damage by 80% when triggered. So, that is going to be something to fight for. Again, this is going to be interesting. But now, if you rank in the top 2,500, then you're going to get this new one. And that's... I can't remember now off the top of my head if I'm right or wrong. I thought, I could be wrong. I thought that if you ranked in the 5,000 or up, then you got the specialized skill being released. I could be wrong. It could always be 2,500. Can't quite remember off the top of my head about that one. Well, okay, so there's that. Either way, then that's still gonna be a fight for that one, and it's gonna be interesting going forward that one, especially with Jack and Sally being up there. But here's where I got a little interested by this one. They are releasing Timeless River Mickey. If you're able to reach the new tier, because they added a tier onto the Coliseum, so now there's tier 11. So if you get past all 999 stages of tier 10 and you get to tier 11, you're gonna get a Timeless River Mickey. That's going to be very difficult to do. I mean, I tend to stop when I hit like around rank 400 or so, which is more often not roughly between tier 120 and 130, roughly, thereabouts. It's not that I can't go further in it. It's just that I never felt the need to go past that for the most part. It's guaranteed my spot to get the exclusive skill being released. The extra Chippendales and the Sids would be nice, but it's not like a huge motivator for me in that one. More often than not, staying in under the under top 100 would be a little more trouble than it's worth at times for me. I mean, if I get close to it sometimes and I'm able to stay there, then I might do that, but it's not a huge issue for me. But this one is a little different. This is going to promote people to really push as hard as they can. Unfortunately, it is going to include the hackers, which, again, something still needs to be done about the hackers in the game. But I find it neat that they're releasing this guy. So I wonder what kind of medals they're going to release in the future. Or maybe not medals, but like skills perhaps. I don't know. I assume medals, though, because they're a little more... People will push a little harder for those medals. But the interesting thing that they released Time for Mickey is that he was an exclusive way back at the start of the game. I think like the second month of the game's release, I want to say, maybe. It's been a while since that happened. There was an event where if you were able to beat that level 140 enemy in the Proud Quest, then you got this. And it even said that was going to be the only time you're ever going to be able to get this medal. He was that exclusive. This is the only way you can get Time for Mickey, was if you beat that level 145 in the Proud Quest. And now here he is again. So I wonder if they're going to be doing it in the future as like incentives, like, you know, hey, we added on a whole new tier to the Coliseum, because they realize that, hey, with Jack and Sally, it is going to be easier for people to get higher ranks now. That's kind of interesting if they did that. I mean, I won't say it's game breaking. Of course not. It's not game breaking, but it is game changing. Jack and Sally being put back to initial stats is game changing for sure. So it's things like that going forward. I mean, I'm curious to see how they're going to do it. I wonder again if they're going to be doing things like this now for events, Coliseums and such, where they're going to add on or change things in order to make things a little more worthwhile to keep on pursuing them. So it won't be so easy to get through them, or if they're actually going to, like, you know, keep on nerfing. Well, I say nerfing. I shouldn't use nerfing. Keep on changing the medals to accommodate the NA side of the game. Don't know. It'd be something neat to look forward to in the future and to see how they're going to do that. I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to handle it in the future. Either way, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm curious about your thoughts on this now as well. And Caxton Petrie, and again, Caxton Petrie, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right, but if I'm not, I do apologize. I'm not, that pronunciation may be off. Again, thank you for your comments from my previous video. I did appreciate your comments, and I really did enjoy the conversation we had. Despite us not agreeing on those points, it was very insightful, and I particularly enjoyed it. Other than that, you guys take care, enjoy, good luck in the new Coliseum, and thanks for watching.